The Torchbearers crew were lost in time after they accidentally destroyed the universe! They'd given the pirate lord, Machina Aurum, a magic crystal that gave control over time. He then traveled back in time, erasing the party from existence, forcing an angel named Perry to intervene, rescue them, and send them back to stop Aurum. Unfortunately, time travel wasn't an exact science, so the party got separated as they bounced through time. One by one, they woke up in strange places. Ren woke up on a massive boat being pulled by a dragon. The boat's captain, Goldbloom Buckland, threatened to kill Ren, but relented when he saw Ren's pirate mark. Buckland explained that some druids had created something that they shouldn't have, a magic torch that could be used to free an ancient evil. Ren thought he knew what the pirate meant, until he pointed out in the distance to what Ren knew as Crossroads Tower, and said it was the torch. Buckland explained he didn't have the ability to destroy the Crossroads Tower, but was more than capable of killing all the people at Cinder who knew its true purpose. Before Ren could do anything, he disappeared, dragged farther back in time. Sean woke up in his hometown of Hemlock, a few decades before he was born. He spotted an elderly warrior fighting skeleton pirates, sword in one hand and lightning magic in the other. They fought together. As they finished off the last of the enemies, the warrior glanced at Sean's sword. "You know, a friend of mine has a sword just like that," he said. "Neat," Sean said before being dragged farther back. Pace woke up in a place she'd tried to forget. The boat where she'd been stationed back when she was in the Navy. The boat where she had participated in a mutiny and been rewarded with more scars than she could count. She crept down to the brig and found herself, unconscious, her wounds still fresh. Pace drew her sword. She knew what she had to do. Pace then brutally murdered a dozen Royal Navy soldiers while they slept. And at that point, I had to pop in as the DM and say, "Hey, didn't you end up in this mess because you accidentally messed with time once? Weren't you sent back by Perry specifically to ensure that the original timeline was restored, therefore guaranteeing that you continue to exist?" Pace's player shrugged. "Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure you knew what you were doing." Pace carried her younger self off the boat into the tower it was docked at. She ran into a Genasi paladin who healed young Pace's wounds, saving her life. "Thanks," Pace said. "You can just dump her outside a bar or something. It's where she belongs." "Is she your sister?" the paladin asked. "What? Oh, yeah, she got beat up by some pirates." "It sounds fun, adventuring with your sibling. I've been trying to convince my brother to go on an adventure with me, but he's nervous. The thing is, I really want to make the world a better place, you know? I wish you luck. And I'll see you around, Ripley." Iroh lucked out and ended up in a pretty chill place. He popped up in a walled garden outside a massive palace. A young princess sat in a gazebo, having a tea party. Her eyes went wide as she saw Iroh. "It's you," she said. "Huh? You're that man from earlier. You saved me." Before he could ask more questions, Iroh too was dragged back. The party all popped up next to each other, in the middle of a forest. "Are we there?" "I think so," Ren said, looking up at Aurum's ship, crashed into the middle of a forest. The party heard screaming and ran to the other side of the boat, where they found a pair of knights. One of them was gravely injured, his legs crushed under the suddenly appeared ship. Iroh ran over and stopped the bleeding, but the crushed knight stayed unconscious. The uninjured knight introduced himself as Gale, and explained that they had been traveling through the forest when the ship popped out midair and landed on his friend Mac. This was especially bad because the two of them were on an important quest. You see, a group of dastardly vampires had kidnapped their liege's daughter, Princess Dot, and taken her to Skull Mountain. Gale didn't want to leave Mac behind, but he had a duty to save the princess. Iroh offered to save Princess Dot while Gale carried Mac back home for medical care. The party climbed up Skull Mountain, the eventual location of Mortimer's base, then occupied by a trio of vampires. Said vampires had a young girl tied up to a post. "Oi, Eddie, why'd we kidnap the rugrat anyway?" one of the vampires said, examining Princess Dot's diamond-encrusted crown. "Because," his boss replied, "she is part of a royal bloodline, meaning her blood tastes better. Probably." "Yeah, that sounds about right." Iroh shot one of the vampires with a bolt of fire as the rest of the party charged in. Armix smashed one of the vampires with his warhammer. "We're going to save that girl you've taken." The vampire looked in Armix's eyes, forcing him to make a wisdom saving throw. Actually, I think these vampires are pretty cool. They are completely justified in wanting to eat a child. We should let them drink our blood too, and also stop tracking Mud into their really cool secret base. Ren sighed and drew his longsword. So, you know how I messed up and accidentally gave him a belt of giant strength after the fight with Ravage? Well, immediately after obtaining the belt, Ren spent all of his money on a cool new sword from McGucket. A Sunblade, to be precise. I did not account for this when I balanced the vampire fight. With a single swing, Ren vaporized 2 of the vampires. Their leader panicked, turned into mist, and fled into the cracks in the cave's floor. As Armik untied the young princess, Iroh noticed something. Shimmer coming from one of the cave's eye holes. The glint of sunset shimmering off the face of Machina Orim. Iroh yelled for everyone to get down, but he was too late. Orim raised his arcane pistol and fired an eldritch blast through the chest of Princess Dot, killing her instantly. Ren and Sean fired at Orim, forcing him to pull out the time crystal and teleport away. Iroh stared at the princess's body. It laid motionless in a pool of warm blood. Iroh clenched his fist. "Fuck this," he said. He grabbed the crown from the pile of ashes, ripped out the diamond, and placed his palm on Dot. "Live!" he commanded as he cast Revivify. Dot gasped for air as Iroh hugged her. "It's okay. You're okay now." You saved me." "Yeah, I did." The party escorted Dot home, keeping careful watch for another attack from Orim. By nightfall, they returned the princess to her parents. A massive banquet was held in their honor as the king and queen of the Ire Kingdom showered them with gold and magic items. The day was saved, the princess rescued. But a sense of unease hung over the party. Orim was still out there. He still had the time crystal. He still had the ability to mess things up. The party decided to split up and patrol the palace that night, keeping an eye out for the pirate lord. Sean visited the fountains in front of the castle, Armik stopped by the infirmary, and Iroh decided to talk to Dot. "Daddy said he's going to build a wall around the palace, to make sure no one tries to kidnap me again. Probably for the best. Wouldn't want you to get hurt. I hope he builds the wall far enough out that I can still visit the woods. That's where my friend lives." "Your friend?" "He lives out there in the woods. I've never seen him, but he whispers to me sometimes." Worried, Iroh decided to check out the woods behind the castle. "I'm worried about Mac," Gale said, standing over his injured friend in the infirmary. "I'd help, but I don't get regenerate till level 13. "It's fine. I know an artificer who specializes in this type of situation. He might be able to help. Gonna replace his legs with mechanical ones? Better than nothing." "Maybe after you kill this metal pirate guy, we can take his legs. They're better than any prosthetic we have now." "Uh-huh." Gale stared at Armik. "So I've been polite since you saved the princess and healed my friend, but I'm not an idiot. You're not from here, and neither is that pirate or the boat that landed on my buddy. I'm from the future." "Oh shit, really?" "I'm not really supposed to interfere with anything, but in a few years, there's going to be a great flood. A lot of people are going to die. But the gods will provide salvation. Get everyone you can to the towers. It's their only hope." "And then what?" "What do you mean?" "We survived the flood by climbing the towers." "Got it. What do we do after that?" I don't know." Meanwhile, Sean stared at the water fountain in front of the palace. As he did so, he noticed a red eye staring back at him through the water. Machina Orim drew his gun and fired. Sean barely dodged out of the way and swung his icy blade, hitting the fountain. It exploded into a storm of snow, blinding the robot pirate as Sean zoomies away. Meanwhile, Iroh crept through the woods behind the palace. He wasn't sure what he was looking for, but when he saw it, everything clicked. In the middle of this small grove of trees, Iroh found a small well. Shit! Orim stood in the snow, gun in hand, eyes peeled for Sean Stryker. "Come on, Jaguar Jr., stop hiding and come fight me. I promise. The shot to the head won't hurt too much." Sean burst out from the snow and struck Orim with his blade. Orim effortlessly blocked the swing with his metal arm and shot Sean in the stomach. The sound of gunshots inspired the rest of the party to rush out to join the fight. "Yeah, I'm not dumb enough to try 4-on-1. I'll deal with you guys later," Orim said as he pulled out the time crystal and held it above his head. Before Orim could warp away, Sean rushed past him with zoomy speed, nabbing the crystal with an open bag of holding. "Ha! We win, you lose, na 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 na." "Wait!" Iroh shouted as he ran to the fountain. "Don't!" Sean didn't hear him, drew his sword and calmly stabbed it into the bag of holding, returning the time crystal to the astral sea. And then, everything froze. The party disappeared in a flash of light as they were teleported back to the white void. Odette, Iroh muttered. That's the Depths Queen's name. Queen Odette. Princess dot Odette dot Odette dot Odette dot Odette dot. Damn it! Iroh's player took a deep breath. Casey? He asked. Yes? Did you manipulate me into having a close personal moment with the Depths Queen? Yes, you son of a bitch. I wear this mantle with pride. Perry appeared before the party in her monster eyeball form. You have done well. Machna Orum's interference with the timeline has been undone. Hooray, we ensured the apocalypse happened. We need answers, Perry. About the towers, about the dungeons, about the Depths Queen and the well and the end of the world. Fine, I'll tell you the story of Prometheus. You mean the Cult of Flames god? Yes. He's real, and he's the most dangerous being in this universe. This world, like all worlds, was created by the gods. Once upon a time, it was not a nice place to live. A world trapped in an endless winter. Mortals lived as uncivilized barbarians. This is the world Prometheus was born into. When he was just a boy, his village was razed to the ground by bandits. Prometheus ran out into the cold, into the darkness, and he prayed. The gods took pity on the boy. They brought him over the Rainbow Bridge into their golden palace. They made him their champion. They gave Prometheus the gift of magic and sent him back to this world so he could spread their glory. He shared his magic with other mortals, and thus civilization was born. The world became a paradise, with Prometheus serving as a beloved hero king. But, and I don't know why, but Prometheus wanted more. He broke into the palace of the gods, tried to take their power so he could become like them. The gods laughed at him. They stopped laughing when he killed one of them. Prometheus slew the god of fire and absorbed his power. But of course, the full power of an entire pantheon of deities was more than enough to defeat him, even with his newfound strength. The gods forged a cursed blade, a sealing sword, and plunged it into Prometheus' stomach. For eons, Prometheus lay dormant in the world, buried beneath the earth, unable to move. A king built his palace near where Prometheus lay. His servants dug a well. They unearthed the sword, but were wise enough to know that touching it was a bad idea. Unfortunately, the princess wasn't as wise. Poor Princess Odette. All alone, locked away in the palace. Her father kept her imprisoned. After that incident with the vampires, she heard a whisper coming from a well, the voice of Prometheus. He befriended her. He encouraged her to pull the blade, set him free. And Odette, that foolish princess, did as she was told. Prometheus erupted from the well, transforming into a hellish phoenix. He flew across the land, breathing unholy flames, flames that burned away everything but their victims' souls. Prometheus absorbed these souls, absorbed the magic he gave generations ago, and hoped that it would be enough for him to get his revenge. You saw what happened next. The gods struck him down with stone pillars. They opened the heavens and let forth a colossal flood, to drown Prometheus' flames. A handful of mortals fled into these towers. Skip ahead 300 years, and we arrive at the present day. As for Odette, she was punished severely for setting Prometheus free. The gods transformed her into a monster and gave her an eternal task: keep Prometheus from ever escaping again. Unfortunately, she hasn't done a very good job. The locks binding Prometheus are breaking. That, might be our fault, ma'am. Yeah, that makes sense. You guys have a bad tendency to ruin everything! Hey, we didn't know that lighting the towers was a bad thing. The gods left coattles to explain things. Random visions of the apocalypse isn't a good explanation. Look, here's a map of the IRC. Kermis, Prosper, Alcazar, and Augustus are the only towers that haven't been lit yet. Once they're lit, Prometheus will break free and kill everyone. I don't remember lighting Tesla Tower. As Ren said this, the map flashed, with Augustus changing from unmarked to marked. Ren reached for his pocket to pull out the golden torch, only to discover it was gone, due to a failed perception check several sessions earlier. Oh, shit. Someone stole the torch and is lighting all the remaining towers. There are 3 left. When those 3 are lit, the world ends. Excuse me, Miss Perry. Can't the gods intervene and kill Prometheus? They could, but like I said, they're out of the office right now. I can call them, but it might take time for them to come back. Odds are you're going to have to solve this on your own. The party glanced at one another. Okay, send us back. Let's go save the world. Perry warped the party back to their ship. As they prepared to set sail, another ship pulled up beside theirs. Orum's ship, the Gold Leaf. You bastards! Orum shouted as he jumped onto their deck. I was close. I was so close. I could have made things right. I could have fixed things, saved the world, killed the goddamn Depths Queen, but no. You had to interfere. You had to fuck everything up. Hold on. Don't you work for the Depths Queen? And do you think I enjoy that? Do you think I've enjoyed 3 centuries of servitude to a twisted abomination? Do you think I enjoyed being forced to remove pieces of my body, bit by bit, until I didn't recognize me? Because while this stupid mark keeps me from dying, it sure as hell doesn't stop my organs from decaying away to nothing. I hate her. I hate her with every fiber of my being. But I never had a way to defeat her until I found the time crystal, until I discovered a way to stop the end of the world. And then you idiots had to go and mess it up. Orum pointed his gun at the party. Hold on. You're being stupid. You hate the Depths Queen? We hate the Depths Queen? Why don't we just team up to get rid of her? Orum holstered his gun. Alright, fine. Let's kill the Depths Queen.